What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. It's great to be back with you again today. Jocelyn is right here riding shotgun with me. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hello, everyone.
We are ready to talk to an amazing member of the Flip Lifestyle community. And I'm going to have to say, when I get in the forums every day, I see what our members are doing. We're supporting people. We're answering questions. And we have this forum inside the Flip Lifestyle membership that's called the Introduction Forum. And when I read this paragraph that this our guest today wrote, I was like, this is one of the coolest niche markets I've ever seen. And right about that time, my editor texts me and goes, did you see what was posted in the forum? I sent it to Jocelyn. She's like, whoa, that's really, really cool. And I am super excited to cast some spells with you today with our guest, the founder of newmagicacademy.com, JD Stewart. Hey, JD, how you doing?
I am doing unbelievable. How are y'all doing?
We are good. We're happy to be here with you today. Guys, we have had some weird niche markets before in our
chickens,
community.
sheep,
Venus
flytraps, like people making money in the craziest ways online. And today JD is going to tell you about an amazing niche that he's got a membership, he's got paying members. He started doing this a few years ago, and we're here to help him. I always want my members to grow, but I really want this one to grow because it's so cool. So JD, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your background and tell us about the New Magic Academy.
Well, first of all, I'll let you know, I grew up in a very, very poor family. I mean, we were white trailer trash. We were so white trailer trash that literally white trailer trash didn't want to associate with us. You know, that's the kind of people we were. But
you're my kind of people, baby. You'd be right at home as a neighbor in our neighborhood, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Story.
Yeah. Anyway, to save money, my dad would cut our hair. Okay, and so I had this weird looking haircut from the time I was a little kid to the time I graduated from high school. And let me tell you, practice did not make perfect. In fact, practice did not even make better. Okay, and my mom, God bless her, she made our clothes, but she had no talent. And so, you know, the old saying that you're ugly and your mother dresses you funny? That was me. So,
I like you, JD.
Anyway, so as a result, I was picked on, beat up, made fun of all the time when I was a kid, until one day somebody asked me to be in a play. And what I found out was the safest place in the world was on stage.
Ooh.
As long as I was on stage, nobody laughed at me, nobody hit me, nobody made fun of me. And, that was, as long as I was on stage, I was safe. And then we moved to Las Vegas, and I learned magic. And what I learned was that with magic, I could make anywhere a stage. And if anywhere was a stage, everywhere was safe. And so that's kind of my background in getting into magic. I took that. I graduated from high school, graduated from college. I was an officer of Marines. I joined a Fortune 500 company. I went into management. I left there as a chief technology officer of a medical software company, bought and sold some companies, and went crazy one day and said, I want to go back to magic. And so I started performing again. And I performed all over the country, from Washington, D.C. to Washington State, from Dallas to Dayton, and performed in front of hundreds of thousands of people.
So basically, you used magic as a way to feel safe and to protect you. And it really is true. Like, you can if you've got that deck of cards in your pocket, you can whip that out at anything, and you're the cool guy. Everybody's paying attention. Nobody's being mean to you. Everybody's just doing the stuff. And then it sounds like life got in the way of magic a little bit, this thing that you loved. And when did you go back to magic as a performer? And then when did you start teaching magic to other people through this online course and membership?
I started performing again in 2000, about the turn of the century. So I started performing then. And then I got some great stories about teaching magic with kids, which will tear your heart out. But what happened was that I wanted to put this online to reach more people. And I started that about in 2019. And didn't really know what I wanted it to be until about 2020. And what happened was, everything shut down. And at that time, I was in charge of what we call lectures. There are magic clubs all over the country. And in Austin, Texas, which is where I am, we had scheduled a guy to come down from Minnesota just as things shut down. And so I called him up and I said, hey, would you like to do it online? And he goes, I've never done anything online before. I said, well, what do you got to lose? So we did it online, got all our clubs, everybody in Texas. I'm also with the Texas Association of Magicians. He brought all of his people in. It was a great success. We did it twice with him, and somebody said, have you ever thought about trying to get, and he mentioned another magician's name, very well known out in Vegas. I mean, not in Vegas, but Los Angeles. And I did that, and we were off to the races with the New Magic Academy.
Where did you broadcast those first online events? Were they on Zoom?
They're all on
YouTube?
Zoom.
Okay, cool. Very, very cool. So you said something interesting a second ago. I just wanted to highlight it. Like you said something about like kids and magic and like, you know, like it'll eat your heart. And you said something when we were off air. I just want to bring this up right now before we get started on the business itself. But you said that magic is important. And I don't know if people really think about magic like that. Like we all go, we have a good time. We have good memories of seeing the guy pull the rabbit out of the hat or seeing, you know, David Copperfield walk through the Great Wall of China or whatever it is. Magic is interesting to us. But you said magic is important. Like, can you expand about that a little bit about why it's so important?
Well, yeah, think about what magic is. We live in a time right now where, you know, politically we're at odds with each other, you know, but magic kind of teaches us that things don't have to necessarily be the way we perceive it. Because that's one way. But another way, I used to teach, I still do teach magic to children. I have a magic camp that I would teach every summer. And I work a lot with veterans. And this particular camp with veterans kids. And a mother came in with her daughter, and the mother had the daughter hiding behind her skirts. And she's signing the daughter in. And the mom goes, I don't think she's going to make it through the day. I'll probably have to come get her. I'm thinking she's going to make it through the day because I ain't calling you. But she may not come back tomorrow, but she's going to make it through the day. Not only did she make it through the day, she was the star of the camp. Then at the end of the camp, we always do a show for family and friends. She was the star of the show. Well, since this was for veterans, once a month I produce a show for veterans and their families. So this time I had the kids doing the show for the veterans. She stole the show. Then when she went back to school, she started doing magic for her classmates. And she started developing friends. She didn't have any friends before that. And other teachers found out she was doing magic and had her come into their classrooms and doing magic for their students. One day she comes home and she goes, Mom, I'm famous. Third graders know who I am. Well, you know, so that, but it's better than that. It gets better than that because to find out the reason she was like she was is her dad had just come back from Iraq and had lost both of his legs. And she was adjusting to her new reality. Well, as you can imagine, Dad was also having a hard time adjusting to his reality and was preparing to commit suicide. But excuse me. But when he saw his little daughter just blossom, it gave him a reason to live.
Wow.
So we saved the little girl. We saved the vet. But that's not the end.
Wow.
Mom, as you can imagine, the effect it had on Dad affected the relationship with Mom. And so the marriage. Mom had filled out the paperwork, talked to the lawyer. All she needed to do was go down and file the paperwork for divorce. But when the little girl blossomed, it changed Dad, which changed the relationship, is what saved the marriage.
Wow. It's unbelievable, man. Like, we talk about this all the time. We have crazy stories of like unintended consequences of what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like people writing in and telling us things like that. But like to think that a business where all, you know, someone would say, all you're doing is teaching people magic tricks. But that's not what you're doing. Like you're giving people like inspiration and hope. And like the vehicle is just this like magic card trick or whatever it is you do. But it has so much more value than just I can do a party trick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
I
like,
mean,
man,
what I tell parents is the kids think they're learning magic. But what they're really learning is how to stand up in front of a group of people and give a presentation. They know learning how to manipulate things. They're learning how to develop small motor skills. They're developing self-confidence. That's what they're learning. Magic is kind of a subside of that.
I think adults could learn that too.
Yeah. Well, I do teach adults.
We all need those skills, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think it's more than that too. It's problem solving. It is, how do I solve this problem? If I don't know how to do this skill or this trick, how do I figure it out? How do I solve it? That's a daily life skill that we all need. It is, how do I play to a crowd? How do I figure out what other people like? And, how do I do more of that? And there's just so many different skills that you can pull out of that.
And it's funny because our kids, we joke all the time, like our kids have lived a very, would you call it privileged or sheltered? I don't know which life you would call it.
Probably both.
Probably both. But they grew up very differently than we did because we've had means from our business. Like our business was able to help us provide a life for them. And there's a lot of trips that I remember that we've taken, a lot of different things that we did. But my son, Isaac, he's 15 now. He's actually turning 16 next month. So
watch out on the road.
Watch out on the road.
Hello, motorists.
If anybody's driving around Kentucky. But we went on this father-son trip one time, and we did all the things you do at camp. We did, what do you call it? Paintball. We did soccer. We did games. We did all these things. I was with a friend. His son was there. We were just doing all kinds of things together, eating hot dogs and all that good stuff. But what he remembers, and I've talked to him about this, is there was a magician there. His name, it was Nate Bargatze's dad. I think it's Stephen Bargatze, I think is his name. And he did a magic show, and Isaac was mesmerized by it. All the kids were just mesmerized. Magic is so memorable, especially when you see something you can't figure out how it was done. And that's kind of life, right? Life is you can't figure this thing out, man. It's just a big thing happening all around us, but it's kind of cool. You know what I'm saying?
Like what we teach the kids is, what do you do when something goes wrong? Because if you do magic more than 5 minutes, something is going to go wrong. So what do you do? And that's a skill you take into life.
Wow. It's unbelievable, man. This is a cool niche. This is a powerful mission. I had a feeling, but did not expect it to get that deep that fast. But I want you to reach thousands of people, because thousands of people need to hear your message of what you just said. I'm going to bring that up here in a minute too. So let's turn back around to entrepreneurship. Okay. So you launched this academy kind of off realizing that online's possible with these lectures that you were doing online. You launched the academy. Did you have an audience or anything? Who were you getting to join? And then how many members do you have right now?
Well, first of all, I have about 90 paid members right now.
Okay.
I have about 1,800 people on my email list.
Okay. Good.
They're all quote unquote members. The paid members are what I call VIP members.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people do it that way. A lot of people will call their community their email list, right? Basically, these are all the people that know about me, have raised their hand and said this. Then some people pay to get more access. Where did those 1,800 people come from? Do you have a online presence, YouTube channel? What are you doing right now?
Well, I'll tell you exactly how it started. Like I said, the very first guy we had online, he was coming down to do a lecture for the Magic Club. So that was a Magic Club here in Austin, which was about 20 people. Invited at that time, I invited all the people with the Texas Association of Magicians. And then Nate also had his email list. So that grew. That was about 180 initially. So basically, I stole the audience from somebody else.
That's what we all do. That's how it works. Somebody gets an audience and you get some of them because they like you better, or they like you different, or there's something different. You didn't steal anything. If you did, it was ethically stealing, because it was in partnership and collaboration, exactly like it's supposed to be. So you right now have no real online presence of your own, because I'm looking at the New Magic Academy and I see the login. I see some quick copy to tell kind of what it is, but you aren't doing anything online right now, like YouTube.
The only thing I have online is I have a Facebook page and a Facebook group.
Okay. How big's the group?
The group is about, I think it's about 180.
Okay, cool. How many followers do you have on Facebook? I'm going to pull it up real quick and just look at it.
I don't know. I have a lot. I have several.
Well, the good news is You've created 100 paying members almost with no audience. That's pretty impressive, dude. Like that's kind of insane, actually, when I think about it like out loud. And like, yeah, and the good news is like if you just do a few things, we might be able to just get a bigger audience and kind of take charge of that like on your own, right? Because when I'm looking at your site and like, don't take this harshly, it's kind of terrible. So like,
I mean, don't hold back.
don't
Ken.
help. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just not sugarcoat anything
Hey,
here, guys. Like,
my taste is all in my mouth.
that's a great. You're full of great quotes. We need to hang out more. Like, this is amazing. Like, but like, I'm looking at it right now, and like when you just told me that story, and this is why story is like so important. Like, I'm getting teared up over why magic is so important for you, and probably nobody knows that how important it is. And like, when I see your website, it's like it tells kind of what it is, but like I don't see an about page for you. I don't see like the heart behind it. I don't see the content you're creating to kind of get the word out there. And that's not a knock. It's kind of amazing because the knobs that you need to turn are just like more awareness or something like that, right?
And I would just say like more personality and more
You're amazing, dude.
more heart. Yeah.
Seriously. Like your personality and charisma and heart just in the few minutes we've been hanging out, it's gotten me wanting to learn magic. I mean, already just being around you and being in front of you. And you also sound like you have like this really powerful network of working magicians who are out there who would love to probably even support some of this. Did you tell me when we were talking in the forums or maybe on email, did you say that these magicians come on and do lectures for your members for you? Is that what they
Yeah,
do?
we all the instruction in the magic world, any magic instruction is we call it a lecture. Okay? So it may not have good marketing terms, but it's understood as to what it is. And the way a magic lecture generally runs is that people travel around the country giving a lecture, and then they sell their product.
Gotcha.
So what my pitch to the lecturers is, hey, give a lecture online, sell your product. I've got a larger audience than you can ever meet. You get to sleep in your own bed at night and keep all your profits.
Interesting. So this is almost like an affiliate marketing business where your job is to build this membership academy, which is also profitable because people pay to be a part of the VIP section. And then you provide this platform for these magicians who I'm assuming you mean product, like there's a card trick that requires like some kind of device or something that's really doing the magic trick kind of deal, right?
It could be a video, could be a prop that they've created or a gimmick or something of that nature.
Course, a gimmick or something like that. Very, very cool. So there's a lot of baked in like advantages to sell things beyond the membership without you having to sell them, basically. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about this. I honestly, man, like, this is just spitballing right now, but like, dang, if you just had a YouTube channel and a TikTok and you were doing tricks and telling stories,
I think even
dang, man, people would love to watch that kind of content.
I think some content about like why magic is important, speaking from your heart in that way. I think that could be something that's really beneficial and something that people would share, and then that would get more people to look at your content.
Yeah, because I mean, if I'm thinking, just kind of organically, like if I like our friend Pat Flynn wanted to. He's the host of the Smart Passive Income podcast. If you are under a rock and don't know who he is, but like. He basically said, I want to do something on stage that will be memorable to the audience. And a few years ago, this was probably back in like, when did we go to meet him in Maine?
I think it was like
2016, maybe?
Yeah, it's been a really long time.
Somewhere around 2016, Pat took a course and he said, I looked up a YouTube video on how to do a card trick. And I figured if I could do a card trick and blow people's mind at some point during my presentation, and it was related to what I was saying, then they would remember me over everybody else that didn't do the card trick. And he was right. Like he's become known for that now. Like he does these card tricks like on like the stage. But he, the first place people go when they want to learn how to do a trick is to YouTube, right? And then I always like in my Instagram reels and my, TikTok feeds or whatever, I have a lot of random crap that my algorithm shows me. But like I often see like a magic trick will pop up, right? Because I've watched those in the past, or I've looked up an America's Got Talent magician to see how he did something. And the way the world works right now, like you just need to be in those places. And Have you ever thought about starting your own YouTube channel or even like a TikTok where you could just record quick tricks and throw them out there and let them try to kind of get some view? And then at the end of each video, just say, "Hey, you want to learn how to do this trick? Come to our lecture this week for members only," or something like that.
Yeah. Yes, I have. In fact, that's on my to-do list. I was supposed to start yesterday, so I got to start today. I'm starting videoing, collecting those videos. Like last week, I did a lecture for my members on black art, not the black arts, the black art with the color black.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. That's a dangerous terminology in the magic world, the black arts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm waiting for Professor Snape to walk out and start teaching us how to defend ourselves or something.
But I would want to get through that. And there are several really cool things that you can do with that type of thing. And so I was going through that. And then I thought I could take some of those things. And
what else is on your to-do list?
It is on my to-do list.
What else is on your to-do list? What are all the things you think you need to
actually, an affiliate program for my members. And one of the things I was thinking about today was how to do that, set that up. I've already put in the upsell program that you talked about in the blueprint. By the way, I want to say the blueprint is great. I had actually joined Flip Lifestyle several years ago, and just didn't think it was a good fit for me. And I was listening to your podcast, and I forget who it was. I think it was your guitar guy. And you're talking about how well
Kevin. Yeah.
And you kept saying, well, it's just just like the blueprint. I said, okay, I got to rejoin and find out what this blueprint is. And so I went through and spent a week listening to everything, wrote down all the things that I'm not doing that I could do, and I got a list of like 26 things that I can do. Now I just got to go through and prioritize.
See, if you just done that 4 years ago when you were in there, everything would have worked out just fine. No, I'm just kidding.
But let me just say that sometimes we're not at a place in our lives where we're ready to hear something, right?
100%.
So like years ago, somebody could have told you this. We could have told you the exact same information, and maybe you just weren't ready to receive it at that time. And now you're ready to receive it.
For sure. That's so true.
Yeah.
So if you've given up in the past, come back.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I recommend you coming back if you haven't. In fact, it's just like I was working with a guy, and I just happened to talk to a person, and he said, "You need to license this," because it was another product. And so the guy I was working with, I said, "I'm surprised. That's a great idea. I'm surprised you hadn't mentioned it." He says, "I did." And it go, it just needed to be different words or somebody else saying it. So
that's exactly right, man. Like, especially like with your spouse, like Jocelyn can say something directly to my face, and I'm like, no, that's crazy. And then my friend or something will say the same thing to me the same week, and I'll be like, that makes total sense. I can see your logic there.
My favorite is when I tell you something and you like reject it, and then like a few days later you tell it back to me as if you told me to begin with, and I'm like, I just said this.
I think you got it from me originally. I think that's what happens. I think I say things, you just don't forget, and then you bring it back to me. I think
this is false.
I think we need to do a magic trick here and calm this down. We need to pick a card, any card.
We're going to be doing marital counseling on this podcast, right?
Magic saves marriages. Did you not hear what he said in the beginning of this podcast? It takes you to the next level. Okay. All right.
Okay. In all seriousness,
let's go back to the blueprint. Okay. What you did was fine. It's good to get an overview of everything and then make a list, and all that's good. And the blueprint is really overwhelming sometimes because entrepreneurship can be overwhelming, and there's different parts that need to happen at different times. Usually how I break down the blueprint into a very simple framework is like, you basically have discovery, which is all the first part of the blueprint. It's like, well, how do people even find out about me? And then you have your sales and marketing, which is like, how do you sell these things and how do you do these things? And then you have fulfillment. Okay. You clearly have fulfillment, and you have people paying, and they're paying monthly. So they're paying for more lectures, for more courses, for more training, or because they can't possibly consume every magic trip you can teach them in a month, right? So they're coming back to this hobby, this newfound thing in their life over and over again. So you've got fulfillment, even the upsell now. And what you really are missing is, if you go back in the blueprint, it's around page probably like 436, is like, you need audience. Like that's really the only thing that should be on your checklist right now. Like, affiliate programs are fine. All that stuff is really more for like a mature membership, 1,000 members. You got lots of super fans, maybe 200 people in there that'll really support everything you do. But what you really need is that consistent, prolific flag in the ground that says, if you want to learn magic, you learn it at the New Magic Academy on YouTube. You get on TikTok and people find a magic trick that you do in 60 seconds or less. And it's like, if you want to learn magic, come check me out. Like, you really need to be creating content first. Okay. And then also, I would guess that some of the magicians in your network do have platforms. I know I've listened to magician podcasts before. There are other YouTubers out there that are doing this all the time, right? That are not like super famous America's Got Talent magicians. They're just people with YouTube channels that you can get with and collaborate with, kind of like guest things. Like, they come lecture, maybe you give them the lecture to put on their YouTube channel, something like that. And you can do these content collaborations. But that's the piece that I see from a high level that you're missing, is you're just not like, every day somebody doesn't have a chance to go learn a card trick in YouTube, and all of a sudden the New Magic Academy like pops up, or someone's scrolling through TikTok looking through all their magic stuff because they follow magic people, and then you throw a cool trick out there that they want to learn. And but it's not just demonstration. That's not what I'm telling you to do. Like, it is this personal connective tissue, like, right, like interviewing a magician about like what magic means to them and why they do it, and you getting on there and telling that story you just told us that made us cry, right? Like, showing how important this is. And the only way to give yourself the opportunity to do that is, I'm going to post a YouTube video every week for the next 12 months, come heck or high water. And I'm going to record a little 1 minute short or take a clip from that podcast and put it on TikTok. I say TikTok just because that seems like a place I see a lot of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. So I like that idea very much. I think that content is going to be something that's really important to you. I love your stories too. Like, I would love to hear you tell stories of, one time I did this particular trick at a show and this thing happened, like
Oh,
that would be
man,
something really
like
cool to talk
the
about.
reactions of the magic people. That would be a really cool like way to like say you got a trick that you do, and like this little girl. Like, what do you remember the trick that you taught her, or that she
Or like a
did,
particularly
or
memorable
like
part of that
what
performance.
was the trick that
The
you
trick that she did that basically became her trick was rope through neck, where you wrap a rope around your neck, pull it through. And she did it with a chain, she did it with a scarf, she did it with a belt, she did it with a rope, she did it with everything. And that became her trick.
So like this is how content gets created to make it differentiate, right? Like, you're coming on to this YouTube video. You're like, today I'm going to show you how to tie a rope around your neck, pull it, and it looks like it goes right through your neck. Everybody's going to be amazed. And then you tell that story that you just told us, like, before you do the trick, right? I remember teaching this to this little girl. Her name was Anna, and this is what happened. And bam, bam, bam. And like, now it's like, now I have this really insane reason like to learn the trick. It's the why is so powerful. And I bet you have countless stories of kids and parents and people lighting up at like different card tricks, different magic tricks. Like, you can tell your favorite trick. It doesn't have to be like the most advanced trick ever and confuse the audience. It's just like, this is a
It
cool
has to
trick.
be something meaningful, it's just like, I like to listen to you talk about it because I like you.
Yeah.
And that just kind of like gets people in that spirit of, being endeared to you and like really wanting to learn more from you.
And like, one thing that Jocelyn realized in membership promotion, especially, which I've done a very poor job of, especially in the first years we were in business. But she kind of like stumbled across this, like you have this membership, and I'm looking at it. I don't know what's in it. I don't exactly know what I'm going to learn. I don't see what I'm going to do. I don't know who said these things. Like, people don't know what's in your membership. So one of the things that Jocelyn had me start doing was, Shane, tell them about the member call. Tell our email list. Tell our audience. Like, talk about it on the podcast. Like, we've got a member call this month. What's going to happen with that? How cool is it going to be? Like, how awesome is it going to be? So that people want to be in it. Like, I could imagine a scenario where you're like, what kind of video do I make this week? And maybe you've got like, who's an upcoming magician that you've got in your membership?
I got this coming Sunday. I got David Jonathan.
David Jonathan.
Probably one of the greatest creators in magic.
Okay, one of the greatest creators of magic, David Jonathan. So you just pick maybe his signature trick with his gimmick that he's going to sell, right? And then you get on this YouTube channel and you say, man, I've got this great friend. His name's David Jonathan. He's an amazing magician. He's all these things. And I did this trick one time for an audience and it was so cool. And I've seen him do it and it was so cool. Then you show the trick, but maybe you don't reveal it. And you're like, we've got a lecture from David Jonathan. He's going to tell you how to do this trick. And it's inside the new Magic Academy. And then you just use that flow of your membership to feed your ideas of what you're going to do, how you're going to promote it. I love the concept of showing the trick, but not telling them how it's done, because that's going to be revealed inside of the academy. It makes me like there's a loop I can't possibly close without your help. Does that make sense?
Yeah. There's also that also is would kill the academy, because magicians, we are guarding an empty vault. I know that, but if we reveal the trick, then you have become the enemy. And so I cannot reveal tricks to the audience. Of course, I can let you come to my lecture and you'll see it then. But
exactly. You could. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't reveal it publicly.
You just plant the seed, my friend.
And you even say that, like, hey, the code of magicians says I can only David Jonathan can tell you this trick at his lecture in my new Magic Academy, and then he'll sell you the gimmick that helps you do it. Right. So like, there's a process to it. It makes so much. That's a built-in advantage when you're selling something, is there's a real reason you can't tell them it unless they come to the new Magic Academy like lectures. You've got to show them that stuff there. So it makes sense why you can't, just give it away for free. You have to charge for it. The real magician's going to be there that invented the trick, and he's going to show you how to do it. And then you can go out and you can mesmerize like your audiences too. So I think, like, from your checklist, like, to me, what it sounds like you need to do is you just need to commit to a content schedule. And that's the first step to getting this stuff out there. Once you get 3 to 6 months of good content out there, then you start talking about how to run ads to get it better, more people to it. Then you talk about how to, do the affiliate program and tap into other audiences and cross promote these things. It's just that consistency. Like, we've had a podcast come out every week since 2014. We just don't stop. And our business goes up, our business goes down, but we always have that foundation to fall back on of, well, if we have an audience, we've got a chance. And you've done amazing. I've never seen a business with no content and really not a true sales page. There's a sales page training video inside the blueprint. I'd really love for you to focus on that and update this front page to tell your story, to tell about the results and benefits of your lectures, to talk about testimonials of people who've learned tricks and things inside of this community, and like really flesh this out. That's probably your first step, is flesh out your sales page. And then it's just like, I'm going to commit to doing 12 YouTube videos in the next 12 weeks to get into the rhythm of this so that people can find me. This is also a great domain name, by the way, newmagicacademy.com. Like, it's so clear and it just tells people what it is. It's just no one can find it because you're not consistently producing.
Hogwarts is the old Magic Academy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, we get rid of Hogwarts. They're in the other. This is the real human world. This is the Muggle world. Magic Academy is what we're going to call this. So how does that feel? How does that feel? Like, it feels like you kind of instinctively knew you might have to go this way, but it sounds like a really fun YouTube channel.
Yeah, I did. And what I was wrestling with is, what is that content going to be? And I like your idea of talking about why this trick is important. In fact, one of the things that magicians have a hard time with is actually putting together a story around a trick. To make it actually interesting. And that's truly what magic is. It's not just the trick. It's the story around
storytelling. That's right. Yeah. And if you do that, like, you can totally do that by just think about this. I always call these war stories. Like, crazy things happen when you're on stage. I so resonated with what you said about the safest place on the world is on stage. I feel that.
He was like, oh my gosh.
I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I feel that in my childhood trauma. You know what I'm saying? I just really feel it in my bones. And like, cause like, I'm on stage all the time. So it's like, I feel totally competent. Everyone's always asked me, like, why do you feel so comfortable on stage? Everyone's afraid to public speak and all these things. And I'm just now realizing, this is a trauma response that you've pointed out in my life. So, but like the stories you have from stage are probably where you start, especially with tricks that you do. Like, I was at an event one time and I was speaking and I was about to like deliver a pitch, and I looked down in the front row and this girl unzips her sweater and a flying squirrel crawled out onto her shoulder. Right. And I was like, is that a real animal? And it was like in the middle of this like hotel ballroom with 400 people in it. And I was like, and I had to just keep going. You talk about like not knowing what to say at any given time. But that's just a little war story about something that happened while I was speaking. So when I talk to speakers, I tell stories like that in my presentation so that they can relate. Well, yours is just like that little girl story. Like, that's amazing. And I would guess you've spoken to so many people and you've seen so many magic tricks. Like, there was the little girl that freaked out. There was the mom that came up and thanked you because their son had a bad week and now he had a bad day. There's all these different things that you can attach to these tricks. When people are coming to do a lecture about a specific kind of trick, like call them and just say, hey, can we do a quick like 10-minute like why this trick is important? And then we'll do the trick and then we'll promote the membership. Like, content should flow from your product and the stories that you pick up like along the way. And that's easy. That's the easy part. The hard part is I now have my 12 videos planned out. I got to film these. I got to make this happen. And I got to make sure that they release consistently so that I'm building audience.
But we have a great place for, telling people what you're doing, making sure
Brainstorming
that
the
you're on
ideas.
track.
Hey, would you guys come to this? Would you guys watch this YouTube video? Check this out, right? You can post that in the community, like, too. Like, can you think of you don't have to go into them, but can you think of 3 other stories like that little girl with the rope trick, just off the top of your head? Like, can you think
They
of
can
3?
be funny.
They can be sad, they can be emotional.
inspirational.
Yeah.
I had a little boy. We were doing the show, or not the show, but the camp. The mom came up afterwards to me at the end of the first day. She goes, "How do you do?" Well, he was great. Well, what were you talking about? He took a leadership role in the class, and she goes, "Really?" Well, yeah. What's the big deal? I found out later that he was a special needs kid, which autistic, and I did not know it because of magic. And she told me that magic was his first ever win.
Wow. See, like, you tell that story and then just show the trick. Like, that's all it is sit down and think about 15 of your best stories like that. And then say, and then have a second column that's like, what was the trick? What was one of the tricks I did at that event? Or what trick did that child learn, or whatever it is? And then you just set that little story up 2 or 3 minutes and then show the trick and then say things like, if you'd like to get your first magic win, I've got a lecture this week where I'll reveal how this trick is done, or something like that. And how many of these lectures do you do a month?
I do 2 a month, except for December and November because of the holidays.
Perfect. So basically, you're going to release like a video each week, like before. So you'd have like 2 videos and then a lecture, 2 videos and a lecture.
Yeah. So
I also have a member event where I do a specific topic with a deep dive into one very narrow subject, like black magic or black art.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah.
So just do a preview. Like,
That's it.
yeah, all of your videos, just do previews for things that are happening in your community.
So your template is basically tell a story, do a trick that was related to the story, and then promote the next thing where maybe that trick that you might have to reverse engineer this and say, like, what am I teaching at this lecture? Okay. So you got to plan ahead a little bit. And then you're like, oh, well, I've got a great story about this trick or the person that's doing it. I can tell that story on video, just like we are now. I love your library books setting. It's amazing.
It's perfect.
And like, tell this story of why this is so cool, and then show the trick and be like, if you need to learn how to do it, come to the New Magic Academy and we'll teach you how. And this is so good for clips, man. You can just cut the tricks themselves up, put them on YouTube Shorts, repurpose them on TikTok. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you just have to get some kind of content flow. So let's start there. Let's use that template. You look at your calendar and you can go into the community and tell us what the calendar is if you want to brainstorm it a little bit. Think about stories that might be related to this trick or this guest. You do the trick. I think you doing the trick even more so than the magicians. But like, if you get the magicians on your YouTube channel, they may have followings and y'all can help each other grow together. And then once that content starts flowing, now more people will be watching and finding it out. And you can name the titles cool things like what the trick is, and see if you can figure out how it works in the description and all that good stuff. But before you do that, I do want you to go watch the sales page course. And I want you to focus 100% on this homepage to get it. I want to see you. I want to see your story. I want to see testimonials, and I want to see like everything that's powerful inside of your community, so that when this new audience gets to this place, they'll be ready to buy the memberships. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Listen, man, this was a fascinating story. Thank you so much for sharing. Like that's just I cannot wait to see like how this thing grows. This is one of the coolest memberships that we've ever seen succeed, and I have a funny feeling that you're literally just getting started because you don't even have an audience and you've got almost 100 members. So well
Well,
done, and
my
let's take it to
goal
the next level.
is to make it big enough so that somebody will want it to, when I die.
And kind of
Love
pass the
that.
torch for the
That's
magic
right.
to keep changing lives.
Yeah,
Love it, man.
it's really cool. Thank you for being here today.
All right, one more time. That's the newmagicacademy.com. Go check out all JD's stuff and be watching out for his YouTube channel and all that stuff coming soon. JD, thank you for being on the podcast today.
Adios.
All right, guys, that wraps up our interview with JD Stewart. Go check him out at newmagicacademy.com. You know, I love the businesses that come through Flip Lifestyle. We've seen thousands of online businesses, so many people with so many ideas. And when I saw this one in the forum, I was just like, this is one of those ideas that I could never convince people was real unless you could literally go to his website and join his lectures, because like it's a business based on teaching people magic tricks. And that sounds so flippant. Like these ideas sound like, that's kind of simple. Like, why does that even matter? But when you hear a story like magic literally saved JD's life, I mean, it helped him get on stage and not be bullied and find friends and like create value out in the world. And then like he passed that on to someone else when he helped that little girl with the rope trick. That's what we can do online. Like you can start a YouTube channel and get thousands of subscribers. You just can if you're consistent and prolific with your content creation. And then you can pass on the knowledge that you have, and other people can go out and do amazing things in the world with it. Like the ripples and the impact and the purpose behind your business can be magical. And but it can't happen unless you do it. Like just like you've got to have, right, you got to make the product, you got to choose the idea, you got to build the audience, and you've got to go out and give yourself a chance to do that. And JD is doing that every single day, and he's about to pour some gasoline on the fire. And I hope this new Magic Academy becomes the biggest thing going in magic. And I love that mission of him creating a legacy that he can pass on, so other people can learn what he knows and their life can be impacted too. And that's what we want for you and your ideas too. If we can help you out with your online business idea, whether it's raising chickens or casting magic spells, then come on over to flippedlifestyle.com, FLIPPED lifestyle.com, and check that out. We would love to help you. Join JD in our community. Join me and Jocelyn. We're in the forums every single day helping our members, and our members are using the Flipped Lifestyle Blueprint to earn more, to live more, and to build a life of freedom for their family. We'd love to help you out too. All right, guys, that is all the time we have for this week. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, get out there, take action, and do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then.